Before we get started, I'd like to thank the patrons of this channel for their tremendous support over the years. It is greatly appreciated. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We are making our way through the Guardian cards in the Feast of Hemlock Vale Investigator expansion. We are joined by a special guest, Veronica. So far we have had some hits and some misses. One Elder Sign so far, and a couple of Tentacles. Let's see what this batch has to offer. The first card we're going to take a look at is Task Force. It is a 2-cost event with an Intellect, Combat, and Agility skill icon, Tactic, and Double trait. As an additional cost to play Task Force, spend an action. One at a time in any order, choose an Investigator at your location to resolve an action ability on an asset they control without paying its action cost. Move to a connecting location. Discover one clue at their location.
Task Force, first time I read it, I thought it was bonkers good. And then I realized that you couldn't just spam the bottom mode 3 times, which is what I want to do with this card. Yeah, you have to do each of the modes once. Which I think is still resulting in a reasonable card for multiplayer. I think in solo this card is not unusable, but I think that the double basically makes me kind of hesitant to put it in my deck, just because I think like getting what is essentially a shortcut is not worth having this much like challenge to build around. But in multiplayer, one of the things that I really appreciated out of the Scarlet Keys is Carson really taught me how much messing with the sequence of turns and giving other people actions can really benefit you. And I think Task Force is kind of a micro, like a pocket Carson. you pull them out, you get some stuff done. It's just a good way if you are in a situation where you as the Guardian don't have to do as much. This is a nice way of letting your teammates help. Like you shove your teammate into a location that needs to get cleared out. One of your other teammates can use their fingerprint kit or their flashlight or whatever else they need to do, and you get a bonus clue on top of that. That is just great. I would normally say that the 2 cost on this is a little bit expensive, but in those bigger teams, usually there tends to be a little bit of, well, Faustian bargain, crack the case, like economy that can get spread around. So I kind of doubt that this is going to be the Guardian's money that ends up getting spent for this card. And
okay.
I think this is a fine include. I'm not like over the moon about this card because it is kind of still limited. But in 3 or 4 player, I don't think you're ever going to regret having this card in your deck. It's also got like Tricon, which is not irrelevant.
Okay, so you spend 2 actions and 2 resources to get 3 actions, essentially. Okay. The only one that bypasses a test is Discover a Clue. Okay. Let's think about this. So you're kind of at the same level as like a rogue playing like Swift Reflexes and stuff. All right. So money-wise, you're kind of on par there. You get an auto clue discovery, which is nice. Okay. If this didn't provoke an attack of opportunity, I'd be really happy about it. Because I can see, like, let's say you're playing solo, right? You can attack something, move to a connecting location, and discover a clue. At least you only take 1 attack of opportunity. Okay, that's not too bad. All right, I'm going to think this through. Over to you, Cameron, while I math this one out.
I actually kind of like this card from a solo's perspective. I mean, I think it's interesting that this is in the same set as Guided by Faith, where Guided by Faith, if I want an extra clue, I'm probably not going to get it. Here, I get a chance to use my flashlight without spending a supply. So I can get 1 clue that way, then I can discover another clue without taking a test, and then I can move to another location. So potentially getting 2 clues in 2 different locations and moving, which is nice. It also gives me the option, you know, if I'm playing that sort of traditional, I have a gun in one hand or a weapon in one hand and a flashlight in the other. I get a clue at one location, I move to another where there's a hunter that was going to attack me, and then I get to attack the hunter, sort of thing. Like, I think there's enough ways that you could spin those 3 actions off, or, you know, in order to get enough value out of them. And I also like the fact that this card is giving you the auto clue discovery, which is yet another card that Guardians have in their toolbox that they can get a clue without having to actually
Yeah, I agree.
It's expensive. I mean, you are paying a lot for that clue, but it's guaranteed, which you can't say about Guided by Faith. So, between, if you have this, you've got your flashlight, and then maybe you've got a scene of the crime, you've got evidence. I think we've reached a point in the card pool where there's sort of a critical mass of events that allow you to gather enough clues that, say, having a two-handed weapon, I'm going to say katana because it's in the set, but play a better two-handed weapon than that, where you can play your two-handed weapon and you're not necessarily requiring that you have another asset like a flashlight. You can go get away without the flashlight and just run events to get your clues.
Yeah, that is nice because I know I feel like events that get you clues kind of combo with each other, in that you hit a critical mass when they're like consistently available and you can lean on them. Like you can't lean on just two scene of the crimes to get you through the whole scenario, but you can lean on like 6 cards that auto discover clues. Yeah, I feel like it's not bad. It asks for a bit of creativity. I feel like by the numbers, like 2 actions and 2 resources and a card to get 3 actions is not the best. Yeah, I guess what it really comes down to is how good is that activation that you're doing? Like how consistently are you getting that, and how good of an activation is it? I'm thinking like fingerprint kit or a weapon. Yeah, and it does provoke. So there's that. I'm not sure. I'm kind of middle on it. I'm middling.
So are you going to rate it a 0?
I'm giving it a 0. I'm right in the middle.
I will join you right in the middle, and I will also give it a 0. I think that your comparison with the Swift Reflexes, the 2-cost get an extra action, I think it's obviously not the same. Getting Tesla's Clues and Guardian is a bit of a unique effect for them, but I also don't think it's that far out of the spectrum, and I just think that this is not changing the class or making me super excited to be playing Guardian. So it's serviceable.
I will give it a 0 as well. I don't know if I'd play 2 copies of it. I feel like sort of committing to 2 doubles is a lot to ask, but Guardians, like if you don't have access to shortcut, having access to a move is nice as well. So I think I can see enough reasons that I'd play 1 copy of this and not hate it. So I will stick with 0.
Plus that hat in the artwork is definitely giving me some Walking Dead vibes, which is also really nice.
The next card we're going to talk about is Tinker. It is a 1-cost event with an Intellect and Agility skill icon, Insight, and upgrade traits. Fast, play only during your turn. Attach Tinker to a tool asset in your play area. Limit 1 per asset. Attached asset takes up 1 fewer hand or accessory slots. In a set with Wilson, who is all about tools, and Kate, who also has a lot of stuff she wants to put in her hands. Card like this is, hey, it's a Wilson card.
Finally,
we got there. Three reviews deep, and we finally are starting.
Finally
to hit
got
the
a Wilson card.
Cards.
Yeah.
Throw a curveball at you. Quick, name any tool that takes up the accessory slot.
Cleaning kit.
Okay, correct. I'll give you that one. I should have specified. I should have specified not from this set, I guess. Ride whistle is actually a tool.
It's a tool.
Which I because people kept trying to put it in Kaimani, and I'm like, why? But that might be my Kaimani experience. So I actually am pretty high on this card. I think it's not even the -1 cost, but I think especially taking away the play action of Bandolier, which is essentially what the card I'm comparing this to, is pretty big. Now, I think that this is, in effect, slightly worse than Bandolier because you have to play it on the card after it has been played. So if you are in a situation where you have your big 2-handed weapon and it is not a tool and you want to play a tool, you're in a bit of a bind there. But I think that the upside is very much there.
Fast and slotless. Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned, I think at this point, 2 videos ago, or last video, I'm lost track of when I talked about my Wilson deck that I took to Carcosa. I wasn't very high on that deck, but this was definitely one of the standout cards in that deck, where whenever I had Tinker in hand, I was happy because I could at least do some amount of shenanigans. Just getting more slots, it's been something that FFG didn't do for the longest time and now has been pushing a bit more, and I'm kind of glad about it because it's good. I think this is a good card, and
I'm glad it's in the game, like if nothing else, because it enables things. It just enables builds and board states that you couldn't do without it. And I think I do agree that Bandolier is kind of slow. Yeah, I got to be honest. So the fact that Bandolier feels overly punishing for wanting to do a unique hands setup, but at least this, like, it seems to work. Now, compared to Bandolier, like, yeah, you can run into the problem of like you're out of slots and you can't play the tool, and you gotta line it up correctly as the downside. But at least it's fast. That's pretty cool.
Well, I've never been able to get Bandolier to work, so I welcome any card that lets me have additional slots without having to be forced into playing Bandolier, which I don't know. I've tried it in a lot of different decks, and it just never. I don't think I've ever gotten to the point where I've
clunky
been
and
able
slow
to pull it
is the
off.
problem with it.
So
yeah,
I haven't had a chance to play this card yet, but hand slots are among the toughest slots to come by, and so the fact that this can free some up for you, and I believe this might be, besides Relic Hunter, one of the only ones that gives you an extra accessory slot. Like if you need to
I'll Take That. It's not I'll Take That itself. What's the card that works with I'll Take That?
Oh, the hidden pocket.
Yeah, that's the one.
That one. Now that combo felt so convoluted to me that I was like, I'm never playing this. But Tinker, it just works, right?
You're not wrong. I didn't, but yes, it does. It does give you an extra slot, and I think I was not expecting to be the Bandolier apologist on this podcast because I generally don't like overly complicated Guardian slow builds. But yeah, I think Bandolier is fine. Like, obviously Bandolier 2 is a lot better. Getting 2 slots for a single card and a willpower boost that card is doing stuff. But I think that in general, if the thing that I think most kind of going for is if you want Guardians to do anything other than just punch the monster, you want them to have more slots so that they can actually play their flashlights and whatever.
True.
And this helps with, you can put down whatever tool you want, put a Tinker on it, and it also has tons of cool applications out of faction. You already mentioned Kate, who gets inside access, I think pretty much exclusively for this card. And in general, I'm excited to see where we'll see this card, because I don't think even going into future expansions, I suspect we will find places where this shows up and suddenly makes cool builds possible.
So how do you guys think of it compared to Tool Belt and Scarlet Keys?
So much better.
Yeah, Tool Belt seemed like it's supposed to be in this set.
I mean, they sometimes pre-plan stuff like that, right? They put something in to be like, hey, this is a thing that's not really developed yet, but it'll be cool when it does.
Ratings.
This is my +1.
Okay, I think if it didn't have the juggling problem, because I'm imagining like two-handed gun, two-handed weapon and a tool. So if it didn't have the juggling problem of needing to have the tool in play first and then you tinker and then you get your hand slot full free, then I would also say +1. But I think because of the juggling, I'm going to say 0.
I think I'm willing to go +1 on this one. Hand slots and extra slots are always welcome, and a fast way to get one is nice. And I haven't had a chance to play Kate yet, and I suspect that this is, like, a lot of the Kate decks I've seen have a couple copies of this in just to smooth out her hand slot juggling. And I like the wrench driver in the picture.
Oh yeah,
I want that weapon. I don't know what it would do, but sort of a blunt force, trauma, and piercing damage all rolled into one. So
before we started recording, we briefly mentioned how good magnifying glass is. Now imagine a magnifying glass that doesn't take up a hand slot. Are you seeing what I'm putting down yet?
Yeah.
This card is it's as the person who is playing Kate in I think the only campaign I have going on right now, which is weird for me because usually I have like more than one campaign at a time. This is a fantastic Kate card. It's honestly I think more important for Kate than it is for Wilson, though it is important for both of them.
So wait, you're saying that this was masquerading as a Wilson card, but it's actually a Kate card?
I mean, every good card in Arkham is better in Seeker. I don't think that's a controversial opinion to hold.
Oh, Quoted for truth there. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
where's the lie? Find me the lie.
Well, poor Wilson thought he had a card, and then Kate came and took it away from him.
Remember,
So,
seekers steal every lunch eventually.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
turns out it just happened immediately.
Listen, he can have this one too. It's still good for him. It's just also better for the Seeker.
Yeah, classic.
Oh, also, sorry. While we're talking about Seekers stealing Guardian's lunch, Joe Diamond also love this card because his guns also like
that's true.
tools.
That's
so
true.
there's a little bit of synergy there. It's not like amazing, but it is there.
That's true. Plus, it's not the worst thing to put in your hunch deck because it is an insight event and you can just drop it out for free. Yeah. Okay. Not bad. Yeah.
The next card we're going to talk about is Purified. It is a skill, innate and blessed trait, max 1 committed per skill test. You may commit Purified to any type of test. If this test is successful, for each point you succeed by, to a maximum of 5, add 1 blessed token or remove 1 curse token from the Chaos bag. I did test this as part of the blessed package that is in this set, and it did. Zoe did tee off on, I can't remember which enemy it was. Might have even been the aforementioned Whippoorwills, and I teed off on them and dumped a ton of blessed tokens in the bag. So it did the job. No icons to speak of on this one, but if you want a whole bunch of blessed tokens in a hurry, this will get you there.
Yeah. So this is such a weird card because it is, and there's like. When you put the whole thing together, it makes sense as a Guardian card, but when you start taking it apart, it's like, okay, so it's a succeed by card, so it's obviously rogue, and then it doesn't give you any icons. Is that like a survivor team at this point? It's an intriguing like mix of things, but I think the end result is actually just a very solid card.
Yep.
The part that I think gets to me the most is, so I don't think this card is very strong. And I kind of feel like I have to qualify that with a bunch of discussion around this card has been, is it good, is it bad? Is it Predestined, is the card I'm thinking of from Intimate Conspiracy?
Oh.
Survivor, if you fail 2 bless or 2 curse. This is better than that.
Yes.
But it's tricky. The thing is that I think most works in this card's favor is that setting up a big swing as a Guardian isn't that hard. You can get that succeed by a lot. And the other part is that this doesn't say commit only to a test you're performing. If you're standing next to a rogue, then this becomes a 0 cost fast event that adds anywhere between 3 and 5 blast tokens to the bag, which is a card that I think most of us would play. Honestly, the part about this card that feels very weird to say, but I think makes sense, is that this is actually not a very good card, but it is better. The game and the bless strategy in Guardian is better by it existing, which is a weird sentence that I don't even know if it makes complete sense to me. But the thing is that I am a lot happier to put Token of Fate into my deck. Ancestral Token. I keep calling it Token of Fate. Ancestral Token, which we talked about in the first video, where it adds a bunch of bless tokens, but it's kind of slow to set up. If you want to have Rite of Sanctification come down turn 1 and your name isn't Sister Mary, then I think this is the best card in the game to do that. Maybe. And so I think that's where I'm kind of with this card, where it's like, yeah, it's not amazing, and I think it's definitely a card that I will probably take out of my deck at some point, but the fact that it does just give you bless tokens kind of on demand, it doesn't cost anything, and we've been talking about Guardian economy issues a bit. This is, also shout out to Bradley for previewing this card. This is one of the other people who I remember who previewed it, so...
Got it. Yeah, I look at this thing and I want to compare it to Keep Faith, because that's like your quintessential bless generation. So like Keep Faith costs 2, it's a free action, and you get 4 blesses. So this thing costs 0, and it's not that hard to get it to generate 2 blesses, which feels okay. And then sometimes you'll get it to generate, sometimes it won't generate any blesses at all because someone will fail, but sometimes it'll generate like 4. So, okay, this seems pretty good. Yeah, I like this thing. Because honestly, what Innsmouth really lacked, and I think we talked about this earlier, is Innsmouth really lacked low XP ways of just getting tokens in the bag. And this really helps with that. It doesn't even cost any actions. It doesn't cost any resources. You just get some tokens in the bag. And I do like the remove curses. So like if curses are actually your problem, you can remove curses. So it's like it doesn't just add blesses, which is also pretty nice to have. Yeah, I kind of like this thing. It just does what it does. It's another one of those where it's like you could have guided by faith, but you take that out and put in purified, and you're probably better.
So I was basically playing 2 copies of Ancestral Token, 2 copies of Guided by Faith, 2 copies of Absolution, and 2 copies of this.
Ooh.
And this, I think, if I had to sort of rank them, I'd put Ancestral Token near the top, and then I'd sort of put Absolution and this in the middle, and then I'd Guided by Faith, I'd just put at the bottom.
Okay.
So, this is really nice at the start, especially when you're playing that Guardian who doesn't have a lot of money to spend.
Mm-hmm.
You got your weapon down, you got maybe an ally down, you maybe got your flashlight down, you're ready to go, you're missing the blesses. This can get you a ton of blesses really quickly. And then once you get your Ancestral Token online, then that can generally keep you going for the rest of the game. So this is a nice jump start. I think I'd probably go down to 1 copy. I don't think I'd play 2, but I think if you're playing a blessed strategy, 1 is definitely worth taking a look at, especially since there are so many small enemies and just really simple tests that you can just juice.
Yeah, just totally
like you said, like if you're in multiplayer and there's a rogue using lockpicks, it's just like,
there you
go. Okay, there's the rats. Okay, here we go. We're getting all the tokens.
I actually want to circle back to the curse tokens real quick, because one of the things that's like kind of wild on this card is it's hard to gauge how good remove a bunch of curses is, because I don't think if they printed Keep Faith but remove 4 curse tokens from the bag, I don't know how good that would be. But I think that having it as an additional option on this card, it's potentially really strong. If you're in a situation where you suddenly have a whole bunch of curse tokens in the bag, and if your name is Sister Mary and you have a weakness that puts a whole bunch of curse tokens in the bag, that is something to be aware of.
That's true. You're right.
I've had Sister Mary throw 10 curse tokens in the bag very recently, and I was very happy with it because I was trying to translate the Grimoire. But it's Secret's Grimoire tech. Don't tell anybody at FNG. They'll taboo her weakness again, because they already tabooed it with the deny existence ruling. Sorry, we're getting way off topic here. But the reality is that if you are playing this like 3 or 4 player multiplayer game where blesses and curses, and if you're playing with the new Kohaku cards, that's definitely a possibility. The chance of this suddenly becoming a out against the bag is very cursed is very interesting. But then I'm also very worried where if you are doing a test where you're intending to succeed by a lot and you're profiting off succeeding a lot, and the bag is very cursed, is that going to horrifically backfire on you? And the answer is I don't know. So play this card and find out, I suppose.
Yeah, you might have the covenants to deal with the curses. That's true. But yeah, I see what you're saying. But still, it's good stuff. I'm glad the option's there to like remove curses. That's pretty cool. It just does what it says.
Yeah, I don't think I would be nearly as excited for this card if it only added blast tokens.
How would we rate this one?
I'm just going to go with the 0. It does what it does. It does what it does. I don't think it's quite +1, but it does what it does. So
all right, well, I'll be contrary then and say I think it is +1. Take that.
I'm gonna settle on 0. I've played it. I liked it. I played 2 copies. Sort of felt excessive with all the other blessed tech that is in this set. So does a job.
I definitely see you taking this card out as your deck gets some XP. Like I think this is pretty high on your list of cards to get out of your deck once you get more exciting things. But I'm just very glad that Guardian gets some blessed generation in faction that is accessible and playable. This card existing opens up a lot of spots for Guardian blessed that I don't think are possible without it. Because I guess we had Tempt Fate, which is just 3 blesses, 3 curse. Which also, by the way, this and Tempt Fate are like not bad to have both of them pop off turn 1, right? True. You add 3 curses to the bag, you add some blesses to the bag, and then you just hope that you can succeed by enough that you take some curses out, you add some blesses back in, you get to play your Rite of Sanctification. I'm just happy to have this card in the game. Yeah. So yeah, +1 for me.
The final card we're going to look at in this batch is Hand-Eye Coordination. This is our first XP card of the bunch. It's a 1-cost event that costs 1 XP, Intellect and Combat Skill Icons Insight trait. Fast, play only during your turn. Resolve an action ability on a tool or weapon asset you control without paying its action cost. I honestly don't know
Okay.
what to think about this card.
I
haven't
wanna, I
played it.
wanna tell you a beautiful story. So this
Ooh.
card gets previewed by, oh, I want to say it's Los Archivos de Arkham, but I'm not 100% sure about that.
Uh-huh.
So my profound apologies if that's incorrect. But the this card gets previewed, and everybody is incredibly excited about it because we are getting or cards that let you use multiple actions, and this is the best card for Sledgehammer that they have ever printed. And everybody is super excited about trying out Sledgehammer. And then, before the card is even released, FFG rules that this card doesn't work with the triple action on Sledgehammer, and this card is dead. It's not even dead on arrival; it is dead before it arrives. In my opinion, it is incorrect to make that ruling from a making cards do interesting things point of view. I don't care about like rules actually balance whatever. It's just this card. Somebody. So we held a birthday party, and the box for this card arrived on the day. And somebody asked, "Oh, should I put in hand-eye coordination over galvanize?" And galvanize is not a card that I've ever been excited about. But I looked at it and went, "No, galvanize is actually better in your deck because it can ready the tabooed hammer." And so it's like, no, even in the situation where I would like to have this card, it's actually just worse than a card that is already pretty
Okay.
mediocre and bad. So yeah, I'm more
All right.
disappointed than angry. I was excited for this card when I briefly believed that it would work with the sledgehammer, and now I'm just
Oh, I
like,
see.
whatever.
Okay, so at a base level, if it's like get an extra action, use it to use a weapon, that's not bad. Like I'm thinking comparing it to like swift reflexes. I'm like, all right, well, you get to you get to get an extra action to get like a fourth fight test. That's pretty nice. Like let's say you're attacking something in true solo and you miss a lot and or you miss once and it's like, "Oh no, I need another action to kill the thing." Then that doesn't seem too bad. I like how you can wait until you need the action to do it. I don't know, at its base level it doesn't seem that bad. It doesn't cost too much. You know, it costs 1, which is fair. I'm really mesmerized. I'm like, which actress is this? She definitely looks like somebody. Yeah, that's what I'm more concerned with. It doesn't look bad by the numbers. I see what you're saying about Galvanize though. For Galvanize, it costs 2, also an XP, and gives you an additional action. Can only be used to fight. All right, so it's kind of on that level.
Yeah, I to be for the record, I think
Hmm.
that Swift Reflexes is not a card that would go in most of my decks. I think using the
It's
skill that
true.
we use right now, I would put it an Elder Thing rating, and I
Yeah.
think that
It's
this
just
card had an interesting place, and they took that away, and now I'm just like, what do I
I
do
see
with
what you're
this?
saying because so like rules wise, if I were to use a sledgehammer, it would just remove one of the actions,
Yeah, you're
right?
still paying the
All right.
additional actions, which is the more relevant thing, and that is actually in the FAQ that came with the box. So it's not even
Okay.
that it's like they
It
knew that
was
ahead of time.
they knew that before it was even asked.
Yeah, and
They know yeah. Uh-huh.
it's just like it's not. I don't think it's broken to let this 1 XP cost card let you do a big +6/+6 swing. Like it's good, obviously, and I think the problem is that the people who would break that are the people who can break literally anything because Arkham is not a
Yeah.
game that is impossible to break, and I think that's fine. Like I don't think like no, legitimately I don't think that's a criticism of the game. I think it's fine to
Yeah.
have the game still be fun. That's the more important thing. But the thing is just like yeah, I just much rather this actually have an interesting place, whereas a less interesting Galvanize is not a card that I'm particularly thrilled to use. And the other thing is also the Kate application, because this is inside, right? Yeah, this is inside, so it's
Yeah.
playable in Kate. But how many of the tools in Kate are you actually using actions on? We're back to Fingerprint Kit again, which
Uh-huh.
seems to be coming up a lot in these previews. The fact that the way that this card was kind of like previewed, everybody's excited about the multi-action ignore thing, and then it just didn't become a thing. I'm
So
just
what you're
like,
saying is if you get greedy and then FFG shuts you down, it's your own damn fault for getting greedy. Yeah, that's what happened
I
there.
mean, they stopped. They
I'm trying to reverse image search this card and I can't find anything yet. Turns out reverse image search is like kind of rare on the internet nowadays. Carry on, guys, while I try to figure out who this actress is. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. I mean, a 1 XP Guardian card is usually I'm looking at other cards before I'm looking at this card. So, I mean, by the numbers, it looks okay. Like you're getting a something free
it's
and
not
fast, it's fine, I think. But
it's fine. It's just it's dull as dishwasher water, right? Like it's just not interesting. That's the main problem. I think it's not that exciting. I think they again, Galvanize, not a great card. At the very least, it has that ready clause in there, right? It does something else. This just gives you an extra action, and I think having it do anything else would be an improvement.
Well, I have often been looking at ways of trying to incorporate the frost tokens from Edge of the Earth into our rating system, and I think this card is the perfect one to debut it as a card that just leaves me feeling cold. I just feel kind of numb.
Okay.
Numb, cool, cold.
Right.
Yeah, it just doesn't do anything for me. So
I am glad to have contributed to this momentous moment in gaming history.
Is this kind of like? Would you have remember that famous occurrence, that somewhat famous occurrence way back when we were discussing old shotgun, and I was like completely dumbfounded on how it actually worked? Is it kind of like that?
yeah.
No, because old shotgun is actually fun to play. As somebody who has played old shotgun in multiple decks and
But we didn't know how it worked.
building,
We didn't know even how it works.
You know about it. It's on my YouTube channel. I can post it right now. You should put.
Too late. It's too late. That was so far in the past. All right. All right, I'll go with the Frost as well. I will say, though, that Bing Copilot, using its AI, can't identify this person. So I am dumbfounded. Frost token. Yeah,
well,
I'm not sure who this person
the
is.
most interesting thing about this card is that the big AI cannot find whoever it's supposed to be. That is the most interesting thing about this card. So I cannot add a new token to the list and then not use the new token. So yeah, Frost token for me. Ritual Candles to turn it into a 0, so it's actually like uninteresting. It's a Frost token.
That's going to do it for this batch of Guardian cards. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. It's always great to hear from you. Any final thoughts on this batch?
That was a weird one to end on, that's for sure. It was a weird batch, actually. You got we were all over the place. Yeah.
I like most of them.
Yeah, they're not bad, but I mean, was Hold Up this video or was Hold Up? No, Hold Up was last video. Never mind. Actually a pretty decent batch. Yeah, but it was a weird one to end on, just like Hold Up. Yeah. A lot of interesting art in these Guardian cards so far, like Purified, Hold Up, Hand-Eye Coordination. Just imagine there's a tentacle monster. And I think that kind of like grounds me. It's like she's shooting at a tentacle monster in this one. Purified, he's just purified a tentacle monster. Yeah, there we go.